Hello, it is 6:53 a.m. on 8/13/2020, and I'm just here to let you know, in case you hadn't heard, it's election season. And so, with that said, I think you should go out and register to vote, even if you're, you know, even if you don't like any of the candidates. You should at least go vote. Yeah, register, go vote. And you know what you can do even? Vote by mail. Yeah, and then you're not even contaminating people with your dirty, nasty diseases. So, if you hear me, please go register to vote, unless you're already registered, and then make sure you vote, because we got to vote. I think you can still register to vote. I don't know. It varies by state by state, and I don't know where you live. And even if you don't live in the United States, if you live in a country that allows you to vote, make sure you vote. Don't be like the United States. No one votes here. It's lame. Everyone should vote. Get out and vote. Welcome to Imaginary Ramblings. I'm Matt.
I'm Ben.
And this is episode Girl, Look at That Body. I almost said it again. It's so hard not to say it the correct way.
Oh, I know.
So in this episode, we will be telling more tales of Dyson Pixels. We will be talking about the movie The Body from the Hulu Into the Dark series.
Yeah.
And we'll also be getting into what we've been getting into. So,
Oh, yeah.
Benjamin,
Yes.
what have you been getting into?
Well, similar to last week, it's been a very busy week with a mixture of school and work. But this is my last week of school for the summer. And so that has been a big relief.
Awesome.
And while not doing that, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. And it's been really fun. Like, I like pretending to be a samurai and cutting down all my foes in a tale of, I guess, a little bit of revenge and a little bit of defending your home from the Mongol horde.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Goddamn Mongolians.
Mm-hmm.
Now, question.
Yeah.
Are you taking lots of shots and posting them to social media?
No, I haven't been doing that. I've seen some people do that on like Reddit and stuff. But no,
Yeah, my Twitter feed is just full of like shots of it, and I'm like, come on, guys, calm down a little here.
I mean, it does look really good.
It does, but it doesn't look as good in the pictures, I don't think, as it probably does when you're playing.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, I mean, the pictures look fine, but it just, it looks like a screenshot.
Right.
Yeah. How long is your break before the fall semester?
It's about 10 days, so,
Oh, the way you said it, you sounded so excited, and then I had to go flush it down the toilet. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So, like, what happened pretty much is that I'm not exactly sure what their reasoning was, but they decided that we would only have, or they were going to move up the start date for whatever reason of school this semester. So originally we were supposed to start like a normal time that everyone else pretty much does, like around what is it, like August, like 20th-ish,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then so for whatever reason they've decided that we're gonna start like way early, and then we're gonna end around like Thanksgiving, and then be gone until like the middle of January.
Oh, so you got a really nice fall break at least.
Well,
or winter break, I mean.
Yeah, I think they're not doing a fall break.
That's wild. Just compress it.
Yeah. So I don't know. And like, I guess our teachers are having like a big meeting on whether or not we're even gonna have like in-person classes or if they're going to be online. Are they going to be a little bit of both kind of thing? I think they're kind of just waiting to see, like, what kind of COVID increase numbers are we going to see when the actual semester starts.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Obviously, that's one thing that people are worried about, obviously, is that, you know, we live in a town that is about to increase its population by about double here in a couple weeks. So there's a lot of concern on what kind of spike we'll see.
Well, I've been... So this is going to be like some crazy time traveling shit for people. So this morning I posted our most recent episode, which was recorded almost exactly a month ago. It was June 24th. And before the episode, I on the time traveling episodes, I try to add in a little like what's currently happening in the world thing at the beginning. And and so I mentioned my tattoo. Nice. So this is going to be some like crazy time traveling stuff because right now the thing I've been into is I just got a tattoo last night. And they'll be like, wait, no, he got a tattoo a month ago.
Didn't you already have that?
Didn't you have a tattoo a month ago? Well, you know, for the most part, we're talking about a movie that's been out since 2018, I think. Yeah, October 2018. So, since that's the main thing we're talking about, the time traveling doesn't bother us too much, except for this part where we talk about what we've been into, and then it sounds like we're time travelers.
Yeah, maybe we are. I have been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately.
Ooh, back into the Who.
Yeah.
You know what? I promised to get into the Who after we did our Who month, and I've not gotten into the Who.
It's all on HBO Max. So that's what I've been watching it on.
See, my issue is COVID-19 happened, and that put me into a dystopian tailspin, and so I've been watching The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Because I'm the kind of person that when society's breaking down around me, I need to see a worse version of society.
Yeah.
Not a better version.
Right. No, I get that for sure.
And really, like, we've been watching a lot of Alone. Have you watched Alone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've been watching it too, yeah.
Love it. I love that show.
Yeah. We're on, so we watched season 6 first because that's what was on Netflix. Not really, we'd already kind of started it before we realized it was season 6, even though it even said season 6 in the description. We were just like, well, this is confusing, but whatever. Yeah. And then I was like, oh man, we gotta watch more of this after we finished it, when we were about to finish it. And so then I looked and I saw it was on Amazon, 2 seasons, and then the rest of the seasons were on Hulu.
Yeah.
So we watched 1 and 2 on Amazon, and now we're on 3 on Hulu.
Yeah, it's really confusing, isn't it? How you have to be like, okay, I'll watch a couple of seasons here, a couple of seasons there.
Yeah, History Channel really screwed the pooch on their distribution of this.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to play that long game, see who's going to give me the better price.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what they did. So,
of course, I don't know. I mean, Hulu got a bunch of seasons, really, so must have been them, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, Disney owns Hulu, so, that's where the money's at.
That's true.
So, I got the cutest thing to tell you. And it's gonna melt your little heart. So, are you ready for what Locke wants to do when he gets bigger?
Yes. Oh, yes.
He wants to do Alone with me and you.
Aww. That's awesome.
He's kind of missing the concept of Alone a little bit, but
sure.
But yeah, he wants us to all 3 do Alone together. So there you go. Now you know what we're going to be doing when Locke's 14.
Nice.
We're gonna.
I promise not to be the guy who sends us home within the first hour.
Yeah, please don't do that. I don't know. Maybe they'll have a 3-person Alone by that time.
Did you watch the team one yet? There is a season where there are 2.
That's season 4. So
yeah.
We'll be starting that once we finish 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we're 2 episodes away from finishing 3.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to spoil too much, but there's a couple of teams that get eliminated pretty quickly in 4, and it's just like,
Yeah.
what happened?
I've actually been pretty impressed with the season 3 people, but maybe that's why it's the only time they did it down there. Is like people seem to be lasting a pretty long time.
In Patagonia, yeah.
Yeah, in Patagonia, there's like 8 people left up like till like day like 20 something. And then they finally lost the third person on like day 20, and usually they've lost like half the people by day 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the Patagonia episode. Like, that made me think, like, it just must be easier to survive in that area.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say because they're all, it's different people every time, so.
Be honest, though, don't you love when those really cocky assholes are on there and then they, like, go home for something stupid?
Yeah, I love it. I love it when, like, these, like, my favorite thing about Alone is when these badasses, for all intents and purposes, like anyone that makes it past the 10 to 15 day mark is pretty much a badass because they've survived for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so when they get like the first piece of like protein they've had and like those 2 weeks, because like you always see that on the bottom part. It'll be like, it'll be like, Brad has not had any protein for 20 days.
Right. Tom hasn't eaten anything except for bark for 8 days. Like, oh shit.
His own shit and mushrooms.
Right.
Or mushrooms grown in his own shit. Like, yeah, like it'll be just like, but it's always like he hasn't had protein in 14 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they finally they catch a fish, or they catch a rabbit, or they catch something, and they just like jizz everywhere while they're eating it. They're just like, this is the best meal I've ever had in my life. It'll be like, or it'll be a mouse even. I like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're practically crying as they're eating. It's like, damn. And like the funny thing is too, like that probably doesn't taste that good. It's just the fact that they haven't had meat for like 20 days.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I love about it. I'm just like, because they don't have any seasoning. It's it's literally like there's have you watched season 6 yet?
I'm watching it now.
So there is some people who get kind of creative in season 6. I don't remember anyone really getting like, or maybe there was some of that in season 2. I think one of the women in season 2 was like adding like berries and stuff and trying to like flavor her food a bit. Yeah. But there was a woman in season 6 who was like adding berries to like her rabbit and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's like there we go. We got somebody trying to like. Somebody admitting that it's not the best meal they've ever had.
Right.
It could be better.
I was always disappointed in the seasons I've watched at the lack of like people making like an atlatl, because it's a really easy primitive tool to make. I mean, as far as like what they're making, other than that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And like nobody's made one for like hunting, or like one dude maybe made one for hunting.
Are you talking about like the throwing stick thing?
Yeah.
The one guy, I think in season 1, a guy made it.
Right, and then like I don't think anyone else has made one until like maybe there was another one that made it. But it's just like, oh man, that would be so easy to make. It's like on top of like the stuff that you've already made. It's already like super hard to make. Like making that should be easy to do.
Oh yeah, the girl in season 3 who the first thing she does is she makes a chair on the beach.
Yeah, like she definitely could have made an atlatl, and like they had bamboo, which is like pretty much the perfect thing to make like a spear out of. So I'm also like surprised there wasn't very many people making like spears and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's one of the only critiques I really have about the show is the rules aren't always super transparent. Because like one of the things
that always like confused me is, so there's only one guy that I've seen so far, and of course I'm only on season 3. There's only one person that's like brought a shovel. So I'm like, are they like not supposed to really dig a lot? Because I know that at the end of the show they always show them like dismantling their campsite.
Oh yeah,
You know, whenever they leave, and so I didn't know if that was like part of it. They don't want them like digging up too much because then it disturbs the natural environment more.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it seems like they're allowed to do pretty much whatever as long as they can like tear it down and it's not like too permanent. Other than like cutting down trees for wood and stuff, but
because I just didn't understand like why some people didn't like build their shelters into like a hillside so that they'd have already like they would have like a clay wall that won't catch on fire.
Right. Of course, they might not have known to do that, or
I mean, it's a lot of work, and you have to have a shovel. Like if you're doing it with like sticks, it's not going to work. Yeah. But
I feel like there's projects that they need to do like first while they have a lot of energy, because like you're just not going to have food later.
Yeah. But we're about 15 minutes in. We better get to the body, man.
Oh dang! Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. That was fun. I could talk about Alone all day. We could have a whole episode about Alone, probably.
maybe we'll need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe once we're all caught up. All right, so the body. This is the first. This is episode 1, season 1. October 5th, 2018 is the day it came out. It's an hour and 23 minutes, and it is a sophisticated hitman with a cynical view on modern society finds his work made more difficult when he has to transport a body on Halloween night. But everyone is enamored by what they think is his killer costume. Ha ha ha. So, first of all, how did you feel about this movie? Like,
overall, I did like it. I thought it was kind of fun. I didn't realize at first that it was Halloween until, like, not, like, super far into the movie, obviously, but, like, at first I was like, is he really just walking around with a body? And then I was like, oh, it's Halloween. Okay, everyone thinks it's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was on purpose, for you to initially be like, okay, so this guy's just fucking crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was kind of a cool, like, concept. I thought overall, too, just the whole, like, concept seemed kind of funny. And it was nice to see, I know his name isn't Guillermo, but it was hard not to think of him from What We Did in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah. And he played a very similar character.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit less good at killing vampires.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We didn't see any vampires. So.
Right, that's true. Maybe it's because of him. Yeah, I liked the dynamic between the hitman and Marie Antoinette. I thought that was pretty cool, and like their chemistry together seemed pretty natural.
Yeah, it was. I mean, natural in its unnaturalness.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I really liked the victim characters. They were fun to follow around.
Yeah, they were. Dorothy was the only one that's coming to mind.
Yeah.
The name I remember.
Yeah, Dorothy, Alan, and Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was cool, and well done, I thought. Again, it was kind of cool to see, like, I like the horror movies when you get to kind of see them from, like, the monster's perspective. I guess technically he's a human, but, still, like, he was, like, the monster kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, he was monstrous.
So, like, we knew, like, the whole time that he was the monster. So it was really funny to see, like, the interactions with people with him, like, not really realizing that he was the monster at first. Like, oh, what a great costume you have. You're killing this whole killer persona thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
no.
Oh, shit, he's really killing people.
Yeah. Well, before we get too far into spoiler territory,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and let everyone know, if you ain't watched The Body yet, you better go watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what are you doing? Just go fucking watch it.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, so the movie starts out in a fancy apartment, and you kind of follow it around. You kind of like pan the camera around. There's some like classical music playing, and then you see you hear the phone ring, and the very Hitman-esque Wilkes answers.
Yeah.
And you hear a voice, and it's Bill from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's true. It was.
Yeah. And the whole time I'm like, man, I kind of recognize this voice. I don't know who it is. I wonder if he voice acted anything. I don't know. That's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down right now.
Yeah, right.
So, Wilkes is basically told, did you get it? Excuse me. So Wilkes is basically asked if he got the job done. He says, yeah. And then he's like, well, deliver the body within 4 hours. And he's like, okay. And so we need to make a statement. And so he goes and he's told to keep it conspicuous or inconspicuous. Be inconspicuous. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And of course, what does Wilkes do? You already mentioned it.
Yeah, oh yeah. He just like walks through town. And they even mention like, I know you have your own way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So yeah, he's just dragging the body around, and then he gets to.
But it's Halloween, so nobody knows.
So they're all like, "Oh man, awesome costume, bruv."
Oh whoa, what a cool prop.
Yeah, and so he gets to his car. It's been vandalized. Tires are slashed. The windows are broken out, and all this crazy. And then there's a cop coming to take statements. And he's like, oh shit, I got a real body. There's a cop coming. And then this Brokowski named Alan shows up with Dot and Guillermo. I mean, Nick. Sorry. And they invite him to a party. And he tells them fuck off. But then the cop's coming closer. And he's like, okay, one drink. And they promised they'd give him a ride. To wherever he needed to go. And so...
Which, can I just say also, if he was a hitman, and he didn't do some kind of, like, reconnaissance, like, oh, I shouldn't park here because stuff is going to get vandalized, I feel like that wouldn't be the first time you would hear about certain areas getting vandalized like that on, like, Halloween.
Yeah, it's hard to say. As far as, like, vandalism, I mean... that happens like randomly all the time. Like, it just depends on where a person gets drunk that decides to be a monster.
That's true. I'm just saying it seemed like he should have done a little more pre-planning or something.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't street park if you're gonna be like
murdering.
Yeah, murdering. But he goes up to the party, and it's like a real banger.
Yeah.
And he gets a drink, and he makes lovey eyes with Maggie, who isn't introduced at the time, but she's the one dressed as Marie Antoinette. And they're like making lovey-dovey eyes at each other, and then she comes and talks to him, and they introduce Jack, who's like the guy running the party.
Who I have to say, like, I liked his character. Like, I know he's supposed to be just kind of like douchey company owner. Like, I mean, I guess in their own way, none of the characters were very likable necessarily. But like, I liked him. I thought he brought a lot of good energy to like the dynamic of the, I guess in this case, the victims, right?
Oh yeah, he was probably the funnest character.
Yeah.
In the movie, he was probably the most fun. And so, basically, long story short, Maggie says she'll drive him since Alan's a douchebag, and And then she goes to meet Jack, who's her boss, and get his keys because she's going to drive Wilkes and Jack's car. And Jack's like, yeah, man, you can leave, but first we got to go in this room. And then they all do drugs while Wilkes stands around awkwardly with Maggie.
Yes, cocaine, I believe, is the drug of choice there.
Yeah. I thought it was maybe the cokes, but I don't know. I'm not a drug aficionado like you, apparently.
I've just watched Scarface a lot.
Oh yeah. You just wait until your day to run your own coke empire.
Yeah.
So
you got me.
So finally, like, Wilkes gets impatient, and Maggie, and he like fucking throws a knife and kills Nick. After he says some like real existential bullshit stuff, like evolution was a mistake. The only thing that we should do is eat, sleep, fucking die. Basically,
it was like we were all sane before.
Yeah.
And then we learned like empathy essentially, and now that's what made us insane.
Society is insanity. Yeah. Basically is so it's just some existential bullshit, but Maggie ate it up. She got a lady boner like the size of Timbuktu. And then Nick gets it between the eyes, a throwing knife, and Maggie gets even harder.
At all.
Yeah, it was a nice little fun like jump kill.
I was like, oh shit, Guillermo, no.
Yeah, it was so jumping ahead a little, the ending was like it changed movies almost completely at the end to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you agree. But anyway, all right, back in time. Anyway, so everyone's freaking out, and Wilkes is like, the keys now, and Jack's like, they're in my drawer, and Maggie goes to the drawer, and it activates an escape room.
Right,
and and Wilkes and Maggie get trapped in the escape room, and Jack, Alan, and Dorothy run away with the body because, that's like the logical thing to do. Like,
yeah, I don't really know why they took the body other than like
plot
movie reasons.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like, they literally spent, I feel like, a third of the movie just with them arguing about why they should keep the body.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was because he's human. Oh, I forgot to say the one crazy thing that happened is Jack actually ended up being the person who killed that famous person.
Yeah.
The body.
Right.
Because it started groaning, and Wilkes was like, "Oh, it does that sometimes." That's when
they thought it was an animatronic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what set everything off is when Jack like kicks it, because he said, just kick it and it'll stop.
It'll fix it, yeah.
Yeah, it'll fix it. And so he kicks it, and he's like, you can do better than that. And then he like fucking curb stomps it.
Yeah, he like fucking jumps on his head, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, like, it just like gushes up a bunch of blood in the head part, and they're like, oh my god, it's real.
Which I didn't see how that part is what made it real to them,
yeah.
But like, because the body was bleeding through the whatever already.
Yeah, I think. Well, no, it wasn't leaking. He had wrapped it up well.
Yeah, I thought there was some.
I only remember seeing leaking after they cut him open, or cut the casing open. I only remember seeing the leaking then. But actually, they really only show leaking specifically after they've deformed it. But that's jumping pretty far ahead. Anyway, they run away with the body, and they go into there's a kind of funny scene where Jack gets up on the stage, and he's like, everyone someone call the police. There's a man in here trying to kill us. And everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then he just like stares dumbfoundedly, and then
kind of give more context to that too. This guy is known for his kind of like crazy
over the top
parties, and
Mhm.
like he even made, his entrance was even like Hannibal Lecter-esque.
Yeah, he was basically Hannibal Lecter for the entrance. Now, here's the ridiculous part to me: is they just refuse to call 911 themselves.
Yeah.
Cause like, and it's, and cause like, so then they go into the parking garage for some reason, cause apparently, you know, being around other people is less safe than being alone in a parking garage.
Yeah.
And so then they go down to the parking garage, and then they're like, oh, let's call 911. And then the guy's like, oh, wait, there was a police officer outside. And it's like, dude, if you call 911, they'll get the closest police officer.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, instead they have to run outside, and then the police officer, of course, is ordering like fucking a fucking bagel, I think, and coffee.
Yeah.
And Jack goes up in front of him, and he's like, oh, I got a drunken disorderly. Whereas if they'd called 911, it would have been listed as a homicide.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they get there. So the cop shows up, and of course Dorothy tries to talk to the cop. Dorothy's black, by the way. We hadn't mentioned that yet. And the cop like bears down on her, and he's like, back up, man. And then he's like, we've got a hostile, possibly armed.
Yeah. It was very much the social thing.
Yeah, it was very much like pointing out how the police respond differently between like white people and black people. Jack, though, and I guess he wasn't really calm around Jack either. But Jack was what he's like probably what I don't even know, Santiago. So I guess he's Mexican.
Or
the actor's name is Santiago, so he's like Hispanic.
Hispanic, yeah.
Oh, I know. He's Puerto Rican. There we go.
Puerto Rican,
I know.
Yes.
I finally remembered where he's from. He's from Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Oh. And movie, that TV series. I haven't finished it yet. I need to finish it. There's so many shows I haven't finished. Anyway,
I feel the same way. Or I start one and it's like, I don't even know. I've lost interest.
Yeah. So, finally, Alan, who's the white guy of the group, talks to the police officer, and it calms the police officer down. And then they show that it's this famous actor, because I forgot to mention that they had shown his face before they went and got the police. Well, they never show his face to us, but they showed his face to the characters.
Yes, and we just know that he's somebody famous.
And very attractive, apparently. So I'm going with Chris Hemsworth.
Ooh, you think so?
Yeah, that's who I'm going with. I don't know. Would Chris Hemsworth eat like that fucking crazy cheese though?
Oh yeah, that was crazy, wasn't it? My guess is more like Jeffrey Epstein-esque character.
Well, no, but they said he was beautiful.
Oh, well, that's true.
That was the part that confused me. So I thought it was some rich old fucker when he was eating that fucking crazy cheese. So there's like, at the beginning, there's this whole monologue that Wilkes does about this fucking maggot cheese.
Yeah, it was really gross too.
Yeah, and how you have to eat it all. Well, you have to eat it all, including the maggots.
That's what gives it delicious flavor or whatever. It was like, oh, that's really gross.
I was like, okay, good for you, Wilkes. Eat some maggots, you psycho. And Bill was like, okay, shut the fuck up. I don't care about cheese. But anyway, so Alan of the Morgans, of the Vancouver or Massachusetts Morgans or whatever he says. I don't remember what he says. He always introduces himself that way. He does it like 4 or 5 times in the movie. And everyone gets mad at him for being a pretentious twat and using his family name all the time.
Yeah, I kind of missed like what that was, honestly.
So it's just like if if somebody was last name Trump and they're like, Trump Tower, Trump.
Yeah, like I thought it was just something like that, but then I was wondering like,
Yeah.
oh wait, is this like supposed to be like actually somebody? You know what I mean?
No, I think it was just like somebody who is only a big deal because of their last name, and they're like just fully embracing it.
Okay,
And that's all the accolades they have for themselves is that they have a good last name. But of course, here's the thing: they're young people.
Yeah.
They have time to get accolades.
Yeah.
I didn't judge them too harshly. Like it seemed throughout the film they were being judged pretty harshly, and I'm like, I don't know how old they were supposed to be, but I was still going to like house parties and stuff when I was mid 20s.
Well,
and I still have house parties occasionally in my 30s.
Hell yeah! It seemed like they like. At first, I thought they were all like lower employees of the one guy.
Oh, Jack, yeah.
Yeah, because like it almost seems like they were like the programmers or whatever for his stuff. But maybe that was just Maggie, but
yeah,
it almost felt like that was all of their role, though, didn't it? Like a little bit, like they were all like lower level employees of someone.
Well, yeah, Alan seemed like he might have been like cut off or something because he was mooching off of Jack.
Yeah,
they were all like kind of Jack's entourage.
I think Jack also mentions that he had participated in paying money into his startup.
Yeah, he said his apps like
or whatever.
Ideas. Yeah. But yeah, so nevertheless, they just keep making bad decisions. They finally start to get the cop on their side, and of course, then the cop gets murdered because Maggie and Wilkes work together to get out of the escape room, and it was very romantic. Not really, but
yeah.
But they work together to get out of the escape room, and then Maggie gets like a flesh wound in her arm from the cop, and then Wilkes slits the cop's throat, and that makes Maggie really happy, but also she's like annoyed. She's like they're carrying her out a dead body, and you're an assassin, and I'm the one who gets, or a hitman, and you're a hitman, and I'm the one who gets shot. Which was kind of a funny line, I thought.
No, it was funny.
And then, so all the stuff, they run away with the body again, and they steal a homeless person's cart, kind of, but Jack like pays the homeless person a lot of money. And then,
well, maybe those could have all been ones.
I guess I don't think Jack would have been carrying around that many ones, but who knows?
He was going to the strip club.
So they continue to run away, and they decide they're going to chop up the body, and so they find a hardware store. All the while, Maggie and Wilkes have to like figure out how to follow them, so they go to a bar to clean Maggie up, and there they find a laptop, and Maggie, of course, is a hacker programmer, and so she hacks into everything, literally from like a Chromebook, basically.
Yeah, which I always love hacking in movies. Like, it's always so, like, absurd.
Oh, man. And it's just next level absurd. And like, okay, so the first part, okay, I accepted. I was like, okay, this is fine because, and the reason it was fine was because, maybe she's really good at social deduction, and that's how she figured out the guy's password.
Sure, yeah. Well, also she was his like assistant, right? So like.
Well, no, I meant the password to the Chromebook.
To the Chromebook, yeah.
Because he's like, can you get the password to this? And she's like, I'm not a hacker. And he's like, can you? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, and I am a hacker, actually.
And then she gets in, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a really shitty password. She saw they were, like, dressed up as, like, Dunder Mifflin employees, so maybe he just put in the office as his password or something, and she got it real quick, just based off social cues, you know? And then the next part I accepted because Jack is, because Jack and Alan all work together, and she works for Jack, and so she uses Find My Friend app to follow Alan using Jack's phone and using the computer and all that stuff. But then it gets really fucking stupid because then he's like that what is it, the body cam? Oh yeah, that body cam footage is automatically updated to a remote server. Can you hack into that? And she's like, fuck yeah, I can. And 2 seconds later, she's hacked into
right
the body cam footage server, which, like, if it was that easy, like, we literally there are trials where the body cam trials of police brutality where the body cam footage is so hard to get brought in as evidence.
Oh yeah.
So hard to get. And even if it was illegally obtained, like, I'm sure that if somebody could supply that body cam footage just for context, even if it can't be submitted as evidence, it would be, but it's not easy to get. It's not.
For sure.
It's not something you can just like type in password as the password, password, and you're suddenly in. It's probably like a key that changes every couple days. That is like generated using one of those code generator fobs.
Right.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So she gets in. She deletes all of the body cam footage except for where Alan introduces himself, and of course he says his whole name, Alan of the Massachusetts Morgans, or what, Alan Morgan of the Massachusetts Morgans, or whatever his title is. And then she sends that to Alan, and then Alan's like, oh shit. They're all like, oh shit. And then Dorothy's like, don't worry about it. Just finish destroying the body. She'd already like busted out the teeth, and they were trying to burn his fingertips off, but then his skin was melting, and they all got grossed out. And then they found out that it was going to they'd have to be able to increase the temperature of the lye to like 1500 degrees in order to dissolve the body.
Yeah. It was something like that. It was real high, for sure.
Yeah, and so then they're like, oh, let's take it to a mortuary, because that's you're the next best step.
Right.
And they're gonna take it to a morgue and literally shit, what's the word?
I mean, cremate. They were gonna try to
cremate it. Yeah, there we go. They were gonna try to cremate it. And so Wilkes arrives there, and of course now they're leaving a huge blood trail. But luckily, the morgue was across the street.
Right.
And so then, while going through the, and Maggie and Wilkes had like a moment where they almost kissed in the bar where she was doing hacking. He gets a call from the voice, and the voice tells him he's watching him, and he better get that body. And so then Wilkes goes back inside, and then he's like, "We gotta get out of here." And then she's like, "Okay." And so then they leave. And that's when they follow the blood trail, and I guess he's assuming he's close enough to getting him, because at this point he stabs Maggie and behaves completely differently from how he's behaved the entire film. And I don't maybe we could say because he's in love, he behaves differently.
You do get like a kind of like, when he first sees Maggie too, he did like stare at the girl across the bar, kind of deal. So maybe they were implying a little bit of that.
Yeah, and also he says, "I think you're the first person who's ever understood me, but I don't understand you."
Yeah, right.
And so he leaves her bleeding to death presumably dead. He leaves her on a tombstone, but of course he just stabbed her in the gut. And it's like, well, that hardly seems efficient for a hitman.
Which, can I just say, I was real disappointed that we didn't see. Like, I wanted that team up combo.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a fun series. But, these are all one-shot films. So,
I know.
So, while they were doing that, Dorothy, Alan, and Jack are trying to get inside the morgue. There's a security guard. He comes out, and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And then he immediately gets like a knife in the head, and he dies. Like Wilkes normally does. He either slits throats or hits you in the head with a knife. Anyway. And then he starts slowly walking towards them, giving them plenty of time to move the body inside and get inside, because they're doing trying to do like a Halloween type of thing with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, he's like the slow moving, like menace instead of the slow moving slasher, I should say, instead of like a live assassin.
Right.
So Dorothy's like, haha, motherfucker, you can't get in here. And then he's like, I got the keys, bitch. And she's like, ah! So she runs away. Jack had already run away, saying, fuck you guys, I'm done. Alan had gone to the crematorium to cremate the body because basically Maggie's been sending them messages to frame them for killing this guy and for killing Nick and killing everyone else and killing the police officer. And so they're all freaked out that they're good. But of course, like, the funniest thing is, like, so this is the only body though that you're actually like disposing of.
Right.
And
right.
this is going to get you off the hook, is if you get rid of this one body. It's the plot for the actions of Dorothy, Alan, and Jack is so thin, but it's also at the same time they play their characters pretty well that it like, it seems like they're just dumb enough, high enough, and drunk enough to just keep one of them starts to be like, oh, everything we're doing right now is stupid, and then the other one's like, oh yeah, you're right, let's do this other stupider thing.
yes
Yeah, and they do a pretty good job, I feel like, with the dialogue, but also it ends up being a large chunk of the movie is just them justifying the stupid action they're about to do.
Right. Although I do feel like, their plan for getting rid of like the famous body, that's a pretty decent one. Like, okay,
Yeah.
if we get rid of this, then
no body, no murder.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
but that trail of bodies that they've left behind.
The two other murders that you're being framed for, those ones are still there.
Right.
And so Wilkes tracks down Jack first because, of course, we have to pick him off one at a time, kind of. And Jack does a big prayer where he tells God that he'll stop doing basically everything he does if he keeps him alive. And then Wilkes does the whole classic horror movie trope, slasher movie trope, I should say, of like leaving the room.
Yes.
And then Jack's like, oh, I'm fine. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of this coffin that I'm hiding in. And then immediately he gets murdered. And then Wilkes leaves all the like evidence on top of him, like his cell phone and the badge of the police officer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to Alan and Dorothy. They're heating up the oven, but it takes a while to heat up because it has to get so hot. And so they're just like chilling out, waiting, and then of course Wilkes gets there. He breaks it open. He hears the machining of the cremator warming up, and so he knows where to go. And he finds them, and Dorothy is hidden, but Alan's like way out in the open, and so he's getting ready to kill Alan. And then Dorothy pops out. He's from underneath the blanket, and she's got a gun. She's like, "You're dead now, motherfucker." And I don't remember what she said, but
it was basically that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he like, does like a spin kick and knocks the gun out of her hand and stabs Alan, and then Alan no, he doesn't really stab Alan. He just hits Alan, and then Alan, while Wilkes is trying to deal with Dorothy, because she was the one with the gun, Alan grabs hose and starts choking Wilkes, and then Dorothy stabs Wilkes in the leg, and so it's looking like Wilkes is about to lose, right? Nah, he's the unstoppable slasher machine now.
Yeah.
Not the lithe assassin that would have easily handled these two with throwing knives as soon as he walked in the room. But he's like a slashing monster that can't be killed, and so he instead just keeps taking hits, and then finally he bites off the tip of Alan's finger, and then he stabs Alan in the chest with the embalming gun.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, honestly. I thought that was like one of the cooler kills.
Yeah, and then and then he turns it on, and it's getting chocked full of embalming fluids, and then he stabs him in the head, and then he holds up a tray, and he goes so that Alan can see his own reflection, although he's most definitely 100% dead at this point.
Oh yeah.
He's been stabbed in the top of the brain and is being pumped full of embalming fluid.
And like that felt a little out of character too, right? Because like everyone else he's killed,
Yes.
he hasn't done it in like a sadistic way, and that was like the first like sadistic kill. So like I would say like one criticism of this movie is definitely how he definitely didn't like stay in character.
Yeah, and so he holds it up and he says, "This is what death looks like, boy." And then you hear Dorothy behind him, and she's like, "Freeze, motherfucker!" And he turns around, and she like shoots at him, and he like holds the tray up, and it reflects and hits her right between the eyes, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
And so she's dead. He then puts them in the cremator together, and they get cremated together. He has 30 minutes to get the body to the drop site. Throughout the whole film, they've been showing how much time's left. And so then he makes it to the drop site with 30 seconds to spare. He gets a call from the voice, and the voice asks him if it's done. He says it's done. He sends him a picture, and he's like, I asked for a statement. I didn't ask for this. And he's like, that's a statement. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, the money's transferred. He's like, I assume that this erases any of the issues I had tonight. And then he gets shot. And we pan up, and Maggie's still alive. What?
Oh shit! Even though she got stabbed in the back or spine or wherever it was.
But that's not even the biggest twist.
True.
And then and I feel like the biggest twist got the least amount of attention.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you remember what the biggest twist was? Tell the people what the biggest twist was.
Well, wasn't it that like she was like the one that was gonna like take on like I thought the biggest twist to me was just that like she was gonna be the killer now. It seemed like she killed him and she was gonna like or was it like I was a little confused about that actually. Honestly, was she like the one who was sent to kill him?
So
like loose ties.
No, it's one line of dialogue, and she's like, and she's like, this phone's dead.
Okay.
So the voice was just in Wilkes' head the whole time.
Oh.
Wilkes was just a crazy person.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, dang, I must have missed that line then.
Yeah, it was.
Or just didn't think about it.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, holy shit, this is the biggest fucking piece of news in the whole movie, and it's like one little line that she then like walks away and doesn't address anymore at all. And I'm like, what? This is the biggest revelation in the whole movie.
Yeah, damn.
So, how many throwing knives out of 10 do you give this?
I did enjoy this. I guess knowing that he was just a psychopath the whole time, maybe it makes a little bit more sense for him to break character, because obviously a psychopath isn't going to, or like someone who is legitimately crazy isn't going to uh, realize that they've, fucked up, I guess, or made mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and give it, I'll give it 8. I'll give it 8 throwing knives.
All right, I'm going to give it 7. Yep, 7.
Uh-huh.
I think I really enjoyed it up until the ending, pretty much.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's how I also felt.
Yeah, it's another one of those ones that just like it had this really cool concept going throughout the whole thing, and then it kind of just scrapped it just to change the pace, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite thing and least favorite thing about this film?
I think my favorite thing really was like the dialogue and the character interaction. I thought that was like really well done. I really enjoyed just like the way that all of the different characters like interacted with each other, and like the dialogue felt like pretty natural and stuff. So I really enjoyed that. What I probably didn't like the most was mainly just that I really wanted that team up to happen, and it didn't.
Yeah. My favorite thing was definitely like the banter between Alan, Jack, and Dorothy. Like the whole movie, it was just really, it was all really good and hilarious at times. Like there's a part where like Dorothy's trying to give him a pep talk, and she's like, as soon as we get this over with, we're going to take Jack's money and we're going to go to Jamaica or whatever she said, and we're going to be on a beach and we're going to be having threesomes. And then she like walks away, and then Alan looks at Jack and he goes, those threesomes aren't with us, right? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty funny. So yeah, there was just a couple moments of like of some really funny dialogue. My least favorite thing would have to be just the whole like the whole like wokeness of Maggie's character, as she's like, this is reality. She's like, whoa, you've opened up the universe to me and stuff. And like, what did she say? She's like, you taught me everything, or she's like, the phone's dead, but you taught me everything I need, or something like that. And
yeah.
And I'm like, man, he didn't really teach you what you need. Like, you don't know how to throw knives. You don't.
Yeah, right.
And so, but it was fun. Also, at the end of the movie, that she's like dragging his body wrapped up, because she then wraps his body.
Yeah.
And is dragging his body.
Right.
Did you? Here's an interesting thing.
Uh-huh.
Did you notice that his foot twitched when she was walking away?
Oh, I didn't. I kind of just assumed it was like, he hit the ground and like just.
See, I thought it was like one of those like like Jason things where you think he's dead, but
he's really not. Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Which would be really funny is if they do a sequel to The Body, and it's like The Body 2, and it then ends with her like he thinks he killed her, and then she like twitches, and they're like stuck in this like almost Greek tragic, like Greek Greek hell, not hell, what was it, purgatory. They're almost in this like Greek purgatory where they're like stuck in this eternal loop of killing each other, but not really.
Yeah.
But there you go. I wrote your guys a sequel for you to The Body 2.
Bodier.
More body. All right. Then let's go ahead and get into
Tales of Dice and Pixels.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
You got a story for me?
I've been trying to think of one, so I still need a little bit more time, unless you don't have one.
Well, you know what? When I first set this up, because I just listened to the episode I just put out was the first episode with Tales of Dice and Pixels, and I was thinking, I was like, oh my god, I mentioned board games in this, and we haven't done anything to do with board games.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I kind of want to talk a little bit about what one of the coolest things in college for me was that, like, board gaming got fucking huge. Like, that's when, like, board gaming first started, like, really getting mainstream. Settlers of Catan. And Settlers of Catan is just, like, it's so long and it's so arduous. It's like now that, like, board gaming has turned into what it is, Settlers of Catan is like what Monopoly is compared to Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, right.
So, like, we used to play, seriously, we'd play 2-3 games in one night, and each game takes 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a long game.
We'd be like playing till like 2 a.m., eating pizza, and just having a blast. And now, like, I don't even pull it out anymore, and it's just kind of sad. But at the same time, every time I pull it out, I'm like, oh man, this is commitment.
Yeah, right. Honestly, like, that's how a lot of board games feel now, don't they? Like, like, all these board games want to try to be like the next Catan. So, like a lot of these board games now, and maybe it's always been this way. They just haven't been as popular until recently. But, like, all of these board games have, like, basically their own small novella to read of the rules, and it's like, that's so daunting sometimes. Yeah.
Honestly, for the most, like, the big board game releases, they've really, like, cut down on manual length, and they usually will have, like, QR codes to tutorial videos.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just like, I want to play this game because it looks really cool, but I don't want to read for the next hour just to learn how to play, because by the time I'm done reading the rules, I'm not going to feel like playing anymore.
Yeah, that's like Gloomhaven for me. So, like, I've heard so many good things about Gloomhaven, but I've also heard that it takes so much to set it up, and then once you set it up, you kind of don't want to take it down, but I don't have that option. I have a 5-year-old.
Right. Or God, what was that one game? The, like, Imperial, the Space Risk, essentially, that we played that one time.
Oh yeah, that. Oh shoot.
Either way,
it's from Fantasy Flight.
Twilight Imperium.
Yeah. Twilight Imperium. That's it. Yep, you got it.
Like, God, that was like our whole. I mean, it was fun, but, like, that was our whole afternoon.
Yeah, that's literally a game that you commit to playing this game and this game alone for the next 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. Cancel all your plans for the rest of the day, because this is what you'll be doing.
Yeah. Well, I hope you didn't. I hope you already canceled them
when
you found out you were playing.
Right.
But yeah, it's a fun game, but it's also, like, it's just such a commitment. We don't. So I guess what I'm saying, that's kind of what is nostalgic about that stuff is that you could just dedicate, like, 6 to 8 hours a day to gaming. I used to, when I started playing role-playing games in college, at one point I had 3 nights a week that I was playing role-playing games.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, half the time they got canceled because everyone's flaky, but it was still, like, 3 nights a week. Now, like, I do, like, 1 night every 2 weeks, and I'm like, whew, that's so much work to keep up with this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But all right, I've given you a lot of time here.
Yeah, so since we've kind of gotten off of the digital gaming, I thought I would talk about a physical game too, but I'm going to go with a card game this time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a card game that I used to play all the time, and it's Magic the Gathering.
bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. But the story I have specifically of it is that, so I used to go to this nature camp a long time as a kid, and then even as an adult after I turned 18. And what was funny is that the first year, I think, is when I didn't bring my magic cards or anything, but some of the people who had been there before did bring their magic cards. And so, like, the next week, like, I had some, and I was really getting into it more because people were playing at camp. So I started bringing them in with me, and, like, since that first year, like, it was like almost a ritual of, like, introducing new kids to Magic the Gathering, and, like, there were times that, like, they would have free time, and it was all dedicated to Magic, at least for the boys. Like, it was pretty funny. Like here we are for nature camp, and it's like, nah, this is actually Magic camp.
Yeah, it's very different from the free time of my camping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of camp too is like the kind that, like, you're in a tent, and, like, you've got hard floors and stuff. So it's just not like you're very traditional, like, where you're just, stuck outside and everything. Like you had pretty good conditions to do stuff like this with.
No,
so
yeah. So my camp was 4-H camp, and
oh, nice.
We every week we had what was called Pixie Fest.
Ooh, okay.
And it was it was pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Everyone brought as many pixie sticks as they could, and then people competed to how many pixie sticks they could consume without water.
Nice. Yes. That sounds very much like a thing that kids would do.
Yeah, and it was no Magic the Gathering there, just pixie sticks.
Just eating sugar.
Yeah, I didn't really get into Magic the Gathering until college, and that was for just like a hot minute, because basically it was like, I bought a deck, and then I went on a camping trip with some friends, and we played each other a couple of times. So I was like, oh, this is fun. So then I started, like, buying booster packs on my lunches, because I worked at the mall, and the Four Horsemen was in the mall.
Yeah.
And so then I'd occasionally get some pretty cool cards, and so then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to play against some people. And everyone just always whooped my ass completely, because I was like, oh, you actually have to spend hundreds of dollars to have fun at this. You can't just spend like $4 or $5 here or there. And so then I was like, I literally just like quit cold turkey right then. It was just like, I'm done.
Oh yeah, now I get it.
Well, I think that's our Tales of Dice and Pixels. So
yeah.
let's go ahead and move on to the. Oh yeah, you know what we should do? That we've been forgetting the past couple times.
Oh, to come up with what we're gonna watch next week.
Yeah, what we're gonna watch next week? So let's see. Let's load her up. Load her up. All right, so we watched this. I don't know. So we've got. All right, so we've got 1 through 8.
Okay. Let's go with 1.
1 is Midnight Kiss. So the next Hulu Into the Dark we'll be doing is Midnight Kiss. So that is interesting. You'll probably hear that in a week after hearing this episode. But we won't be. But it won't actually. But you won't be hearing. But time travel and stuff. Since this is 7/22, we'll be recording it next week. And whoa, oh man, it's crazy. But you can go ahead and email us, which is Gmail, on our Gmail, which is imaginaryramblings@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at podcastir. You can contact us on Facebook and on Instagram at Imaginary Ramblings. And please, please, please go ahead and buy our merch if you get a chance. I think our design is pretty cool. And,
Yeah, I like it.
And like I said earlier, we'll send you a free bumper sticker if you send us a picture of you having bought our merch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as long as the shipping to get it to you isn't like too
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
With all of that said, all I have left to say is bye-bye.
Bye.